Well, it's time now for a look at all this Tuesday's front pages here in France with Elena Casas. Hello.
Hello again, Lorna. Should we start with Nicholas and Angela then, after their glorious meeting yesterday?
What
Nicholas and Angela, this time it's serious. That's the front page from the free paper 20 Minutes. Now, that's a quote, of course, from Sarkozy when he first married Carla Bruni. He said, this time it's serious compared to his last two wives. So this time it's serious with Angela, according at least to 20 Minutes. Now, of course, this is because, while ostensibly there was a summit about Greece and the euro crisis, for Sarkozy, that's not really what's important. What's important is that he hopes that she can be an asset in his attempt to get himself re-elected, a point made quite clearly by Le Figaro's front page this morning. Sarkozy, Merkel, the anti-Hollande pact. Now, they say in their editorial that while European leaders don't normally get too involved in one another's domestic elections, and indeed the relationship between France and Germany has perhaps historically worked best when the two leaders weren't reading from the same political page, like the socialist François Hollande and the conservative Helmut Kohl in the 90s, for example. But we're living in different times, according to Le Figaro. If François Hollande thinks that France's relationship with Germany can be as good after he's elected than it is now, he's mistaken, because now we're living in times where France and Germany need to have a same common budgetary policy. And if they don't, we're risking the euro's collapse. Now, he says that paper says that even in Germany, the socialists don't have policies like 35-hour week and returning the retirement age to 60. So the fact that Hollande does is bound to provoke a clash.
Indeed, but those things, such as the ones you mentioned, those are quite important for a lot of people here in France, nonetheless.
Exactly. That's why Sarkozy's relationship with Merkel could actually be an electoral disadvantage, because a lot of the policies that he wants to do going in line with Germany's budgetary policies are extremely unpopular in France, particularly on the left. Here, the communist paper L'Humanité has got Sarkozy, the Chancellor's candidate, as the front page, implying effectively that he's her lapdog and just follows her word in every kind of policy. They accuse him of blackmailing democracy in that editorial. They say that the Merkozy budgetary fiscal stability pact that was written between European countries before Christmas, that Nicolas Sarkozy, of course, has signed up to, and François Hollande has promised to rewrite, is undemocratic. It's forcing countries to abide by certain economic rules, despite what their democratic electorates might think, and that they're not keen on it at all.
OK, well, over at Le Parisien, some good news for François Hollande.
Indeed, they've got a poll in here. Now, what they've done is envisage a situation in which Marine Le Pen would not be running in this presidential election, something she herself is worried about. She needs 500 signatures, of course, among France's 40,000 or so local mayors to get herself on that ballot paper. She says she may not get them. So if she doesn't run, would that benefit Nicolas Sarkozy? You might think so. Obviously, her voters are more likely to turn to the right, but not according to this poll. They say even with her out of the running, Hollande would still get 39% of votes in the first round, and Sarkozy only 27%.
OK, and meanwhile, the front page of Libération, traditionally a left-wing paper, even further to the left.
Yes, we have to strike, and strike. He means hit here rather than walk out. But this, of course, is the far-left leader, Jean-Luc Mélenchon. He's getting about 9% in the polls, which is perhaps surprising when you say that when you realise, as Libération points out, that his rhetoric is pretty hard left. It's an old-fashioned class war story, twisted a little bit for the modern world, where globalisation is the villain, if you like, and, of course, the bankers. So he's riding on this wave of popular anti-banker sentiment, they say, and he's got a huge amount of appetite for the fight. He's not going to drop out and leave François Hollande to take all of the left-wing voices for himself. He's doing so well. He's going to force Hollande to the left, they reckon, and indeed provide a very inconvenient thorn in his side.
So overall, then, it seems that candidates on the left are looking to do quite well in this election coming up in April, and apparently that's worrying some people.
Well, it is some people. Run away, the left is coming. That's a headline on one article inside here in Le Monde. Now, basically, they're talking about some of France's wealthiest residents. You can see them there, some bankers at the top of that picture who are walking out of the country. Apparently, accountants are getting more and more requests from very wealthy people. These are people who would be targeted by the tax rise that Hollande plans to bring in. So people earning over €500,000 a year who are rather worried that he might take a little bit more of their earnings than they're prepared to pay, and so are preparing to move themselves to the UK or France or Belgium rather, or the US, or somewhere where there's a lower tax regime for the very wealthy. The paper does point out that when François Mitterrand, France's last socialist president, was elected in 1981, a number of very wealthy people left the country, but most of them came back within a couple of years, having realised that actually socialism wasn't quite as terrifying as all that.
OK, we'll have to wait and see whether it manages to terrify France or not. Thank you very much indeed, Elena Casas, for that look at today's French papers.